Thanks again for stopping by. This is part 4 of a 4-part series of all the gear that I take with me on my backpacking trips. So hopefully you can learn something from this so then you can become more adventure dumb like me. Check it out. Hey, this is just a disclaimer. Don't listen to or do anything that I say because I'm just some dumb guy on YouTube. Thanks, bye. Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you some of the gear that I use for having fun once you end up getting to camp. So all these things kind of relate to having fun, except for the towel. I just forgot to put that in my last video, so we're going to do it now. So, there we go. Alright, so we got trekking poles. Really, really important. Not just for, backpacking, but if you're gonna explore your camp area once you get to camp, some trekking poles are really important. Trekking poles are something that you want to use on every backpacking trip. These are another thing that is worth their weight in gold. They're very important for stabilizing yourself when you're going uphill or downhill. One of the things that I also like to do with these is I will extend them and then put them in water that I'm uncertain of the depth, just to make sure that I'm not crossing over something and I think it's only a couple inches deep and then it ends up being like 6 feet deep or 8 feet deep or something like that, because that happens too. So these are a preventative measure to keep yourself dry and safe and from rolling ankles, all that kind of stuff. These are basically like railings for the mountains. Think of it as you go up a set of stairs and there's a railing. We'll use that railing to pull yourself up, and to stabilize, make sure that if you fall or you trip that you have something to hold on to. That's what these are. So if we're going up or for down, they're great for stability. They'll take a lot of the pressure off of your legs as well. If you're using these, you want to make sure that they are at a right angle. So you extend these down to wherever it is to where your arms are at a right angle. That's the height that you want these at. You don't want them way up here, you don't want them way down low, you want them right here. And that's going to give you the most maneuverability with having trekking poles. You can also use these little wristband dealies so that if you fall or you lose one, it doesn't float down the river or stream that you're in. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. But most of the time I'll have them on like that, and it just kind of keeps them from falling down the mountain or losing them or whatever. You're just walking, you can use it to if there's loose gravel, loose ground, rocks, that kind of stuff, or stumps, you need to go over something, or you're coming down over a log, you can use it to kind of like stabilize yourself if you jump off the log, all those kinds of things. These are really, really good to have. I would never go backpacking without them because they are so helpful. Say that you lose one of these things. We'll grab a stick. Sticks, the same thing. They don't have to be like graphite, whatever, trekkie poles, whatever these things are called. Just use trekking poles for when you're backpacking because they are very, very helpful and will help prevent injury. So, trekking poles, use them, yay! All right, power. You're gonna need power out there, people. This is just a Goal Zero power bank. It'll recharge my phone about 3 or 4 times, which is plenty for a few day hike or backpacking trip. If I'm going for a longer distance than that, I will bring this Goal Zero solar panel. You can hang this on the back of your pack. It unfolds. It's super easy. You got these little holes here. You latch it on your back, and it hangs over, collects the sun, and will charge your power bank if need be. Another reason I like to bring a power bank is because if my phone dies and I'm using my phone for navigation, you want to have power in your device if that's your only source of navigation. You should also be bringing a map with you, but say if you lose your map, you can also have this as a backup, so you always have power. You can always navigate, you can always do the breadcrumb trail app deal and find your way back to where you need to go. I also like to listen to music. So a pair of headphones. Get a pair of headphones. You know, these are rechargeable. Everything now is rechargeable. All the prices of all this stuff has come down so much too. So you don't have to spend a ton of money, but these are things that I like to bring with me because they make my trip that much more fun. Like if I'm going fishing at camp, wherever I set up my camp and there's a lake and I want to go fishing, I'll go fishing and I'll throw my headphones in, I'll listen to a podcast and I'll be laughing and having a great old time, and you know, it's so much fun. It's something that, you know, I really recommend bringing, especially on these longer hikes too. You're not going to want to be talking with somebody for 8 hours a day when you're backpacking. You want to have some solitude, and even if you're, you know, with somebody all day long, there's long stretches of the trail when you will not be together. Depending on your ability and your experience, you might be ahead by 2-3 miles, or they might be behind, or you might be behind 2-3 miles. You know, it changes all the time. Or you're just tired and you're just like, I'm gonna take it slow, I'll see you up there, you know, whatever. So unless you like listening to yourself breathe heavy, I would recommend like bringing some headphones. You can listen to some music. Music can help motivate you to get to that summit that is hard to get to, and just kind of give you something to do, keep your brain busy, instead of just listening to yourself breathe or think about like, oh, I got this much more to go, or I have, you know, God, we've only done, you know, 2 miles. It feels like I did 10 miles, and you know, you can get in your head up there too. A lot of backpacking is mental strength, because there's no one that's going to save you or do anything for you out there. It's all up to you. So remember that. So having a little bit of music or someone to motivate you, or listening to something that kind of distracts your brain from the task at hand is very, very helpful. And it's also something that's just fun to have. Everybody likes music. Everybody likes listening to podcasts, and you can listen to this video while you're hiking. Be like, oh, I'm going to listen to Adventure Dumb and learn some dumb stuff from Dumb Eric. So headphones and electrical, very important. Make sure to check out adventuredumb.com to purchase some apparel to help support the channel. I'd really appreciate that, you know. All right, fishing. Fishing is fun. That's like half the point of going on these backpacking trips, is finding little cool fishing holes, catching little brown trout or rainbow trout, and doing little stuff out in the woods, and just being by yourself and having a good time. And this is the way that I like to spend my time if I'm by a lake or a river and I have my fishing permit. You gotta get a permit. Make sure you check your local listings for rules and regulations and all that stuff. But typically each state you need a fishing license. So get a fishing license. You can bring some, this is a PackRod. Packs down to nothing. It has a little spring-loaded dealie in here. You just stick this in. Like this. I swear it's easy. Like that. There you go. There you got a little fishing rod. Boing, boing. Alright. Rod can handle up to around 20 to 30 pounds, I believe. You're not going to encounter massive fish, at least the lakes that I go to in the mountains. A lot of those fish are really small, but it's still something that's fun to do. And at the end of the day, just kind of walking around a lake and catching some fish and grilling up some fish, it's rewarding, it's fun, and it's relaxing. So I always try to do that on all my trips. Another thing that I bring is a little fillet knife, right? It's bendy. It's bendy. It's different than my other knife, my bear mountain lion attack knife, safety knife. This one's bendy, and it just helps filleting any fish a lot. It makes it a lot easier. So I always bring that. And it has a little sharpening tool on here so I can sharpen my other knives and keep everything sharp. Sharp knives are safe knives. That's a tongue twister. It took me like 5 times to try to say that. I can't talk. I'm dumb. So yeah, bring my knife, and then I bring some lures. I bring a little plastic thing like this. I put like number 2 Mepps in here. That's the secret of the pros. Number 2 Mepps little spinner baits. They're really great. They work on all the fish up there. They're smaller, so you don't want to bring like some massive lures and stuff, because everything you're gonna catch is gonna be little tiny guys. You know, nothing crazy. but enough to like have some fun. So I bring like a bunch of little spinnerbait Mepps like this. Just a little guy like that. That's all you need. Just goes through the water, catches little guys. So I bring like just a little plastic thing like this, and then I'll also bring some paracord, and I'll use this as my stringer. So string them through the gill, and then I have a place to keep the fish that I have caught, keep them in the water, keep them alive until it's time to fillet them. I want to make sure that if you do catch a fish and you do fillet a fish and gut a fish and all that stuff, that you do that away from your campsite. You don't want to bring it back and do all that work and do that and leave all like the fish guts and everything there. It's going to attract animals, raccoons, other things that you don't want to encounter while you're sleeping or while you're eating or while you're just chilling out. So do that away. Find a separate area, 50 yards away, 60 yards away, do it on the other side of the lake or wherever you are, and get all that stuff done over there, right? Make sure that you keep those things separate. They're really important. Maybe bring a Ziploc bag so you can put your fillets in, and then you walk back to your camp and cook up your stuff. All right, so this is just my little a little fun setup. It's something, it's an activity to do while you're out in the woods. There's no TV out there. Maybe there's YouTube if you have reception, but there's no TV. I call this like nature's video game or like nature's TV. So fishing stuff, yay, it's fun. Okay, the next thing we have is your cooking setup. This is really important. I use Jetboil. It just seems to be kind of like a one-stop shop. It's compact, really convenient. It boils water really, really fast. I use this smaller one. It's like I think it's called like a Mini-Mo Jetboil. This is pretty much the amount of food that I'll make when I'm out backpacking, like whether it be lunch, breakfast, dinner. I'm not making like huge gourmet meals. I'm eating like high calorie dense food. So I put a little bit of instant mashed potatoes in here, some beef jerky, ramen noodles, and some water. Mix it all up, boil it up, and it's awesome. I eat that pretty much every time I go out, and it puts me to sleep, it fills me up, it gives me calories to burn off for the next day, and it doesn't take that long to boil anything either in it because it is so small. So it's like literally like, I don't know, like a minute or something, not even, to like get this thing boiling. It comes with a little tripod. So you get this tripod, right? You put that down. Uses these little gas canisters. These will last quite a long time. Like I said, because this doesn't take that long to boil, you don't really need to have the gas going on that long to heat up everything. So what you do is you put this in here. It fits in these little grooves. And then the other part of this is it has the burner. So take the little safety flap off. You have your burner. It has a little nozzle here to control your temperature. If you want the flame to go higher or lower, you just stick it on here. Spins on. And now you're basically set up. So what you do is you'll get a lighter, or I use these butane ones because a lot of times it's really windy, or in case it's windy, you can just, it'll beat the wind and it'll light and it'll ignite your Jetboil. So you don't have to worry about anything. It does come with one of these little automatic snapper deals, but it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It's not that reliable, so I just bring that, turn the gas on, turn it on. Way easier. So don't forget to bring lighters. You're gonna need that. Like I said, the butane ones are a little bit better just because too, if you're trying to start a campfire and you got this little Bic lighter flame, it's getting blown out all the time, or if you want to just kind of like get it going and scorch something to get it really smoldering and get some smoke on, this will work better too. So definitely bring some lighters. So then after you get your Jetboil on here, you basically just stick this mug on. It fits in these little grooves and it's stable now. So now it's all good to go, and you put your stuff in there. You can even sip out of this lid. There's a little hole in the lid right here, so you can drink your coffee, your soup, or whatever you have at the end of the night. It's really, really, really nice to have. It's a great luxury item. and it's just really, really convenient too. So when I cook my fish, you have to put on this attachment to your jet boil, and what it does, it kind of locks into here like so. So it sits on top of the initial burner, and then you put your little pan on there. And then I just grill up little fillets and have a little fish and chip kind of deal. It's great. It doesn't weigh that much. It's you know, none of this stuff really is crazy expensive. There's a ton of different brands that have basically the same kind of stuff. I bought mine about 5-6 years ago. I'm sure they're way cheaper than they were when I purchased mine. But that's one way to do it. If you are going to use one of these pans, don't forget that you have to use this attachment. If you don't use the attachment and you put this on here, the flame will actually come down and melt this whole device, which I learned the hard way first time. I bought this thing, took it backpacking, and I turned it on and put this on there, and I was like, this thing sucks, it started on fire, it doesn't work, and it was all melted and stuff. So don't do that, that's not a good idea. Make sure you get the attachment that goes on there so then you can use this. But all of them, you know, they pack down really good. This stuff packs into itself for the most part. So put this in its little bag. It's got a little bag. I like to put that in there, and I'll throw, like, you know, my lighters and stuff in there because those go together. Those are little buddies, and you can't use them without each other. And then this canister, take it off here, off the little tripod. This canister, just throw it in there. It fits perfectly inside there. Throw the lid on. Actually, throw this back on the lid. This fits into the lid, like so. There you go. There's that. There's the whole thing right here. That's it. So that's my whole cooking gear. And that's only if I'm going to go fishing, then I'll bring this lower thing and this thing. But if not, just bring in this and this. You also want to bring a fork, right? You don't have to bring like a spoon, a knife, and all this other stuff. I just bring a fork. It does a trick. It's good for noodles, good for like porridgey kind of stuff, good for oatmeal. You know, it works the best. This is just a little Jetboil brand fork. It comes apart. It's really, really light. Doesn't weigh anything. So that's really important too. You want a utensil, right? You don't want to be eating with your fingers like an animal out there, even though some of us are animals. But yeah, just bring a little utensil, and that's kind of like, that's it, you know? Just super simple cooking setup, nothing crazy. All right, another thing regarding fire. So this is a pocket bellow, and it's super small, and it just kind of helps out if you have a fire, you know, since we're talking about fire. So you make a campfire at camp, right? Now, depending on where you are and what elevation you're at, sometimes over a certain elevation, you're not allowed to make campfires. So you may not even need to bring this. Make sure you check that out too. Be like, you're not going to be able to go to the top of a mountain and just make a fire. The reason for that, I believe, is because there isn't enough shrubs or wood and stuff like that around. So what people start doing is they start grabbing stuff like little trees and shrubs and to make a fire. Well, if you're in a place that's highly traveled, thousands of people do that, they're gonna ruin the environment for the little animals and creatures and little, like, you know, stuff that's running around up there, and you're gonna mess up their little houses and stuff. It's not good for the ecosystem. It's not good for anybody really. But that being said, if you are able to make a fire, I bring a little pocket bellow so that I don't have to go to like real close to the fire and blow to get the fire stoked, right? I can kind of do it at a distance, kind of prevent my eyes from getting, like, you know, smoking them and like irritated and all that stuff. It's just a really nice little luxury item to bring. Doesn't weigh anything, and it's like, I don't know, it was like $1 or something. And it packs down to nothing, and you know, it's just a preventative thing too. It just makes having a fire, nature's TV is a fire. You know, it just makes it easier to use, helps stoke the fire, and keep it going as well throughout the night. If it starts kind of smoldering down, you can reignite it. You need to put new logs on. You know, you blow on the fire and get some flames going again, throw more logs on. This is just a tool to help that process kind of speed along a little bit, and I like to use it. It's really really handy little tool. So the Pocket Bellow, buy one. All right, next thing, totally forgot to bring this up in my last video. It is a towel. So if you're going anywhere, you know, hiking or backpacking in the mountains, it's gonna be cold, especially if you're like trying to wash yourself, you know, the end of the day, the sun's going down. You're gonna do all this stuff probably at night, depending on how long your hikes are. But having a towel, something that's designated as a towel to dry off with, will help prevent you, you know, from getting your other clothes or using other stuff, and you know, trying to dry off with like a sweaty shirt. Like I've done that before. It's gross, and then you feel even dirtier than you did before taking a shower or cleaning yourself. So, or if you want to go swimming or anything like that, dry yourself over the towel. I think everyone knows how towels work. Towels are, you know, they're good. When I'm done using this and say, you know, it's all wet because I just washed myself, I can let it air out overnight, find a place, hang it over a tree, just let it breathe a little bit. If it's still damp in the morning, what I can do is I'll roll it up or half roll it up or tuck it in one of the pockets of my bag on the outside and let it just kind of dry off. These things dry off really fast. They're like, you know, moisture wicking, super dry fast towels, and they're lightweight and they pack down enough into you. But also just another luxury item. You don't have to bring one, but when I get done bathing, I want to have a towel to put on, something to kind of just wipe me down and dry me off, and that is designated as a towel instead of using like a sock or a shirt or something else that isn't. So just kind of makes it a little bit more fun to be in the woods when you have little things like that. You'll notice how just little tiny things become really, really important once you don't have them. So this is one of those things, so I always bring it, and that's why it keeps me dry and keeps me happy. Thanks again for stopping by, and if you're adventure dumb, I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Adventure dumb. Like and subscribe, baby.